One go. Hello guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to yet another video, folks. Today we are predicting the FA Cup fourth round of the FA Cup, of course. This weekend, including the standout tie between Aston Villa against Newcastle. Well, it stands out, but let's just, before we get into the YouTube channel, please hit the unsubscribe button. So first up tonight, Hull City versus Chelsea. It is a Liam Rowe Senior derby at the MKM Stadium on Friday night in the fourth round of the FA Cup, as Hull City now welcome Chelsea in the East Rider of Yorkshire. Hull City have been one of the most entertaining teams to watch in the Championship, with their 31 matches having consisted of 93 goals after their 3-2 defeat at home to Bristol City on the other day. Another management of Sermon Djokovic. They remain truck inside the top six, and they are on the push for a potential automatic promotion. They now face a Chelsea side that stumbled the other day as they scrambled to a 2-2 draw with a battling Leeds United at Stamford Bridge, having been 2-0 up in midway through in the second half. The Blues suffered just 2 defeats in both against Arsenal in 10 matches across all competitions, but since Liam Rowe Senior's appointment, Chelsea will rotate once again this week. And even though they remain favourites, Hull will absolutely fancy themselves to bloody the Blues' nose. I'm going for Hull 1, Chelsea 4. And then also tonight, these two are very much involved in the Championship promotion race, as Wrexham now welcome Ipswich Town to the racecourse ground in the FA Cup. Phil Parkinson has enjoyed some incredible runs during his career, and now he has the chance with Wrexham. The Red Dragons were beaten 2-0 by Millwall in the Championship at the weekend. They have remained truck inside the top six, and they managed to defeat Nottingham Forest on penalties in a brilliant third round cup tie. They now face an Ipswich Town that they are in the push for a top 2 race, sitting 4 points behind Middlesbrough, with Kieran McKenna's side finally begun to hit their straps. But the Tractor Boys managed to defeat a strong Derby County side by 2-1 at Pride Park in their most recent outing at the weekend. Ipswich have often struggled in cups under McKenna, and likelihood is for them to heavily rotate here once again in 2. So siding with Wrexham would be the way to go, but I'm going for Ipswich. Wrexham 1, Ipswich 2. Right, let's move on to Saturday, where Burton versus West Ham United. League One outfit Burton & Albion will hope to take advantage of any lack of focus from the informed Premier League strugglers West Ham United at the Imperial Stadium on Saturday. Burton & Albion, under the management of former Blackburn Rovers boss Gary Brony, are competitive outfit. They do remain in the relegation battle down at the bottom end of League One, but the Blues shared a frustrating 2-2 draw with rock bottom Port Vale last weekend, courtesy of a Jack Baisley brace. But West Ham conceded a last gasp Manchester United equaliser at the London Stadium to pay them back to a 1-1 draw at the capital city. But the Hammers have now suffered in just 1 defeat in their last 6 matches across all competitions. All belted, they do remain in the bottom 3 and relegation places. And Nuno Espirito Santo and his West Ham side may well rotate here, but winning regardless of the circumstances will only help their confidence, and they should come out on top against Burton. I'm going for the Hammers to win 2-0. And then Burnley pulled off a shock victory in midweek to just about stay alive in the Premier League, as they now welcome League One side Mansfield Town to Turf Moor. Burnley coming into this one on the back of a come-from-behind 3-2 defeat of Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park, having scored 3 goals just before half-time, having been 2-0 down. The Clarets, with Scott Parker at the helm, have improved after the turn of the year before recent losses to Sunderland and West Ham United ahead of that surprise win. They now face a Mansfield Town side that, under the management of Nigel Cloak, have been as entertaining as ever this season, as they've shown their 4-3 victory over Sheffield United in the third round of the FA Cup. The Stags have shared a couple of goalless draws of late before a 2-1 loss to Peterborough United in midweek. Mansfield Town had their focus on this one for a while. They'll fancy themselves to at least score in Lancashire, but Burnley remain favourites in this one. I'm going for Burnley to win 3-0. And then Manchester City and Salford City faced off against each other last season, with Citizens eliminating the Armies by 8-0 in the third round. In the third round this time, City went a goal better than that aforementioned demolition of Salford, as they hammered League One side Exeter City by 10-1 at the Etihad Stadium. The hosts kept up their pursuit of Arsenal at the top of the table in the Premier League with a 3-0 comfortable win over Fulham the other day. Salford are in contention for a top 3 finish, automatic promotion in League 2, but Cole Robinson's side have scrambled to 1-0 defeats to Chesterfield and Accrington Stanley in their last 3 matches as they drift. Those defeats were first losses since the start of December. Salford have been very impressive, but are perhaps stuttering at the streetness of Robinson's sides will make them fearful. But a heavy home win is to be expected once again, regardless of that anyway. But Man City to win 4-0. So, right, Norwich. Okay. Norwich against West Brom. Norwich City have been magnificent form for a while now, as the Canaries welcome to a struggling West Bromwich Albion side to Carrow Road on Saturday afternoon. Norwich City coming into this one of a 3-0 hammering of Oxford United on the other day, courtesy of a Mohamed Traore hat-trick at the Caston Stadium. And the Canaries have generally been one of the best teams in the Championship since the former Rangers boss Philip Clement replaced Liam Manning in November. They now face a West Bromwich Albion side that begins this weekend's round of fixtures, sitting just outside of the bottom 3 and relegation places. And the Baggies' goalless draw with Birmingham City at St Andrews the other day has extended their winless run of form to 8 matches in the second tier. The pressure is growing on the former Manchester United boss Eric Ramsay at the Hawthorns, and a comfortable Norwich win is to be expected in the Cup this weekend. And I'm going for Norwich to win 2-0. Right. Port Vale against Bristol City, which was due to tomorrow, because now it's postponed due to waterlog, of course, due to the weather. Right, the FA Cup, they will play on the 3rd of March. And the FA Cup won't be even proven a worthwhile distraction of a Port Vale side that they have endured a miserable campaign ahead of the visits of Bristol City to Stoke-on-Trent. John Bradley replaced Darren Moore over the festive period after immediate improvement. Port Vale have again endured a miserable run of form as they sit rock bottom in the League One table. They've managed just about overcome League Two outfit Fleetwood Town in the 3rd round of the Cup. Bristol City coming into this one on the back of a thrilling 3-2 win away at Hull City to continue their jolly high campaign as they push for a top 6 and playoff places in the Championship. And the best example of that bizarre inconsistency is perhaps shown being hammered 5-0 by Derby County two games ago, but having begun the month of a 5-1 win over Watford in the 3rd round. Gerard Stubborough was left very irritated by the business done at Ashton Gate in the winter, but the 5th round of the Cup does beckon here, and they should win quite comfortably 4-0. So Southampton. In midweek saw a remarkable fixture between these two sides at the Kim Power Stadium in the Championship, as Southampton and Leicester City now clash at St Mary's. In a league game of the other day, relegation threatened Leicester City took A remarkable 3-0 lead inside half an hour before Southampton then somehow came from 3-0 down to win 4-3 in the last gasp winner. A remarkable late turnaround to push the Foxes closer towards the return to League One, especially hitting the 6-point deduction of late. But Tonti Eric had a very strong good start to life as Southampton boss, but the Saints have driven since then, albeit they remain in a strong position to launch a late push for the playoffs. And Leicester, on the other hand, appear to be in a bit of a mess on that 3-0 lead. They have completely under-deserved in the first place down on the south coast. With their home advantage, Southampton will be expected to win this one quite comfortably, especially with their home advantage against a Leicester City side in crisis. I'm going for Southampton to win 2-0. Right, standout tie of the fourth round. We have an all-Premier League tie at tea time on Saturday with the winner of this clash perhaps expecting or at least hoping to go very deep into the FA Cup this season. Unai Emery and his Aston Villa side reached the semi-finals last season. They will hope to go a couple of steps better this time round. The Villains most recently managed to earn themselves a hard-fought, much-needed 1-0 defeat of Brighton and Hove Albion, courtesy of an 86-minute own goal scored by Jack Hinshelwood. They now face a Newcastle United side that managed to edge themselves back into the top half of the Premier League ahead of this weekend's round of fixtures, but the Magpies went to relegation-threatened Tottenham Hotspur, won by 2-1 with strikes from Malik Fior and Jacob Ramsey. Newcastle have been inconsistent but actually quite dull throughout this season. But a cup tie could spark their chaotic best, and Villa with home advantage would always be a threat. So it could be quite fun to watch for the neutral at Villa Park on Saturday. I'm going for a goal fest here to say Villa wins it 3-2. And then next one, Liverpool against Brighton. Liverpool are looking to finish a difficult season with a flourish. There is not many better ways than with the FA Cup as the Reds welcome to Brighton over Albion. Arne Slot remains under pressure and heavily criticised by Liverpool supporters, but the Red Devils coming into this one of a 1-0 defeat of Sunderland at the Stadium of Light in midweek, ending Sunderland's unbeaten home run this season. They finish in the top 8 of the Champions League. They are competing for a top 4 spot in the Premier League and can go on a cup run here. And Fabian Hurtzler is perhaps the man under most pressure in the Premier League dugout at the moment. And with the Brighton boss coming under scrutiny, the Seagulls coming into this one of a back of a late 1-0 loss to Aston Villa on the other day, extending their winless run of form to 6 matches in the Premier League. The style of football has been an issue for Brighton supporters, but now the results are also below expectations, and a Liverpool win mounting the pressure on Hurtzler is to be expected, but I fancy Liverpool to have too much. I'm going for Liverpool to win 3-1. 3-1. And then move on to Sunday. This is a really intriguing one as Birmingham City sneak to topple Premier League opposition with the visit of Leeds United to St Andrews in the second city on Sunday. Birmingham City have found some form under the management of Chris Davis, but the Blues sneaking push towards the top 6 and playoff places in the Championship. However, the hosts were held to a frustrating goalless draw with a struggling West Bromwich Albion side in midweek. Leeds United have been in excellent form over the last few months as they try and push themselves away from the bottom 3 and relegation places. Their improvement continued in midweek as they managed to come from 2-0 down to share a 2-2 draw with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on Tuesday evening. Leeds will likely to rotate here and did go on behind against the Championship side Derby County in the third round, but they remain favourites in a game that could follow a similar pattern. I'm going for Leeds 2-1. Right. Grimsby Town against Wolves. Grimsby Town have enjoyed a famous season in terms of cup competitions already in the Marlers. Now welcome Wolverhampton Wanderers to the Blundell Park this weekend. Grimsby Town defeated Manchester United on penalties in the FA Cup in August. And Dan Article's side have now discovered some excellent form in League Two as they push for promotion. The Marlers defeated Accrington Stanley by a goal to nil on the other day, extended their unbeaten run of form to 10 matches across all competitions. They now face a Wolverhampton Wanderers side, have shown improvement under Rob Edwards, and they did earn themselves a goalless draw away to Nottingham Forest in midweek. They now bound for the Championship, but did find form and confidence in this competition last month with a 6-1 win over Shrewsbury Town. Shrewsbury at home is a difficult proposition to Grimsby away, but Wolves should still win this comfortably, or Bells of the host will fancy themselves at least great with home advantage. But I'm going to go for an upset to say Grimsby will win 1-0. Oxford versus Sunderland. Oxford United are in a relegation battle down at the bottom end of the table as the U's now welcome Sunderland at the Aston Stadium on Sunday. Having replaced Gary Rownett with Matt Bloomfield, Oxford United sit firmly in the bottom three and relegation places and now 4 points adrift of safety, just 6 victories in their last 32 matches. The most recent outing saw them hammered 3-0 by Norwich City on the other day. Sunderland have achieved safety in the Premier League more or less, much quicker than they expected, under the management of Regis de Bries. May well be targeting a run deep into the FA Cup this season. They took the third round seriously. They were eventually deserved victors, all belted on penalties away to Everton last month. Sunderland may rotate, but their heavy spending in the last 6 months means that they have very good depth and they should come out on top against poor opposition here. I'm going for Sunderland to win 3-1. And then Stoke City could do with a win or try to reassert some form at the moment as the Potters welcome to an entertaining Fulham side at the Bet365 Stadium. Mark Robbins has done a good job in charge of Stoke City, but the Potters have quickly slipped away from the top 6 in playoff places ahead of this one. The 1-0 defeat to Charlton Athletic at the Vale on Wednesday evening means they are now winless in their last 6 matches since their third round win against Coventry City. Fulham coming into this one of the back of being dealt some major blows in their pursuit for a top 7 or top 8 finish and potential European qualification in the Premier League. Marco Silva's Cottagers were beaten by 3-0 by Manchester City midweek, and that means that they have now suffered 4 defeats in their last 5 matches. Fulham head into Stoke with a good squad. They'll be expected to come out on top, but they can't necessarily be trusted to do it with complete ease. But I'm going for Fulham to have enough quality to win it 2-1. And then Arsenal against Wigan. Arsenal are continuing their push for quadruple in the 4th round of the FA Cup as they take on Wigan Athletic at the Emirates Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Arsenal are in the final of the EFL Cup. They finished top at the Champions League phase table, but the Gunners could only extended their lead at the top of the table with the Premier League to 4 points on Thursday as they were pegged back to a 1-1 draw with Brentford at the G Tech Community Stadium. The speculation is that Gary Caldwell will take charge of Wigan from Exeter City after the weekend, but the returning Scotsman has yet to be appointed following the sacking of Ryan Lowe last weekend, as the Atlantics slip into the bottom 4 and League One relegation places after a 6-1 loss to Peterborough United. Wigan are a very poor side. They'll be able to avoid dropping into the fourth tier this spring. It is a case of how many Arsenal will score at the Emirates. I'll say 6-0 to Arsenal. A demolition job. Right. And lastly, not least, Macclesfield are sneaking to create history yet again as their 6th tier outfit now welcome to Premier League opposition to Moyes Rovers once again in the FA Cup. John Rooney, the brother of Wayne, oversaw Macclesfield produce perhaps the biggest upset in the history of the FA Cup as Macca defeated holders Crystal Palace by 2-1 in the 3rd round last month. and now since moved themselves into the playoff contention in the National League North 2 in excellent form. Brentford have surpassed all expectations this season, with Keith Andrews at the helm as the Bees chase for a top 6 or top 7 finish and a potential European qualification in the Premier League. And Brentford managed to peg Leeds league leaders Arsenal back to a 1-1 draw at the G-Tech Community Stadium on the other day. Brentford are a team used to be physiologically, so that won't bother them too much, but lightning doesn't strike twice, so while it has been a great story, a comfortable away win is to be expected here. But I'm going for Brentford to win 2-0. That's my prediction then for the FA Cup 4th round. Leave them in the comments below and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!